thing I noticed with like the outer Sassy. You know when like it fully zooms out and you see like him in his full scale. It
Yeah.
really looks like the hill he's sitting on is the same one from the wake up scene. Because
Right.
Sassy doesn't remember having that chat with Les.
Oh.
Like he's like, "What are you talking to me?" That might have been him chatting with like the outer Sassy.
Oh, I've never thought of that before.
You
I
just
only
broke my
clocked onto me
timeline.
last night.
That would explain all of the moments where
He says that.
something happens and Sass says, "What are you talking about?"
Well, Sassy also moves around in time, so it could be a non-omnipotent Sassy that was popping in to fix something.
Oh yeah, of course it could be. It's just something I noticed. Like it might even just be a bit of a reference to that kind of Sassy. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the outer Sassy is like the pure essence of the philosophical, shit.
Jono, I think you brought up Alan Watts, but ego death, happens if you get sufficiently cracked out. Well, if you hit the 5-HT2A receptor with enough. So what happens to Sassy if he already has ego death equivalent amount of drugs and has one of these trippy moments?
So he's on doing that constantly.
Yeah, that was more or less exactly what I was going to say, Tom. That's kind of his nature, is that he'll slip through the cracks in reality and go to places like we could only trip, our hardest, and only get a tiny fraction of what he does on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he said, "What do you mean you're my higher self? I'm high right now.
Yeah,
I'm the highest cunt there is."
yeah,
They do also say though in the episode where they go to the cinema that Sasquatches do just have to take drugs. It's good for them.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's good for you.
Heroin, man. Keeps your cholesterol.
That is crazy. Like, it's weird that that applies to all Sasquatches. Is it a coincidence that this outer god just happens to be a Sasquatch himself? Like, could the whole species of Sasquatches be linked to Sassy somehow? It's like they all seem to have that ability to just take ungodly amounts of drugs.
Mm. But we do see some Sasquatches that we don't see take any drugs at all, like Cecil.
We don't know that.
No, we don't know that for sure.
Like,
Well, Scotty as
Cecil
well.
is definitely a crackhead.
Or a roid monger, yeah. On top on fucking D-bowl.
No, each Sasquatch specializes in a different drug.
Hey, there's an idea. I want to see the meth Sasquatch.
I don't think you do. I think his name is Keith. He stole a kayak from us.
Wait, what?
That's a long story.
But you can't, blue ballers like that.
Yeah, low-hanging fruit. Let's go. Come on.
Alright, Uncle Keith. Let's see. He was on the run from the law, living in a trailer with a local gang down by the river. But these guys just cooked meth and they had goats that lived with them, like in the trailer. The goats just walked around and ate stuff and peed on the floor and got into the meth. And he had a boat and he would float down the river and collect nice driftwood and then sell it to rich people. And he was actually making like $700-800 a week doing this. And then he lost the boat. I don't know how. So he asked to borrow a kayak, and I've never seen him again.
Oh.
So he kayaked away, as far as I know.
He kayaked away. He upgraded to a yacht on the Riviera now.
Uncle Keith sounds like a fucking fever dream. Holy shit. Oh, I want to meet Uncle Keith, man.
A lot of people want to meet Uncle Keith. The cops keep asking if we know where he is.
Look, just don't lend him your kayak.
But if I ever meet anyone named Keith asking for a kayak, I'll let you know.
Oh, Jesus Christ, boys. I am fucking soaring high right now.
Living the dream, what?
I was thinking about rolling up a moon rock.
Oh, I've always
Oh,
wanted to
yeah,
try moon rock.
delicious.
It's,
So what do you do with
it's
that? You just
interesting.
grind them up?
So my normal go-to thing is I'll put it in the freezer. And if you keep it in the freezer, it then stops all the hash and stuff from being sticky and it holds into one piece. So then when you take it out of the freezer, you just quickly break it up, put it in a grinder and grind it up, and then it'll all just go through normally, and then you can just go from there as normal.
Oh, that's
That's
quite clever,
insane.
actually.
You ever
Stop your grinder getting.
if you chill the grinder, it might not.
Spot the engineer.
Yeah, they are crazy. Very crazy.
How many of you were high the first time you saw the big?
Me.
Yeah.
'Cause I definitely was.
I wasn't smoking at the time when I first watched it. Like
Okay.
it was because of Big Lez that got me into the idea of smoking.
Whoa, okay. That's cool as shit.
Yeah, it was
That's
about
the way
like
it works,
a couple of months later that I tried my first joint. Actually, no, a bong, kind of like a can bong, was the first bit of weed I ever took.
Baptism of fire.
Yeah,
I
he just came to me and went, "Oh, mate, you gotta do this with me. It's sick." And I was like, come on then. Saw Big Les do it.
I had a friend who was from Canada. Like, he was completely different in the way that he smoked weed and what he smoked. He would ask us, "Do you know anyone that can get like loaves?" And we're like, "Well, what do you mean loaves?" And he's like, "Well, can you get me a loaf?" And I'm like, "Well, would you put a loaf of
Huh.
bread?" He's like, "No." And he's on about a loaf that's like a loaf of hash that's the size of a shoebox.
Oh,
And I'm like, "Well, no, I'm a 14-year-old kid.
what a fucking
I don't have the
question."
facilities for that." But where I was going with that anyway was he introduced us to smoking through a can. I'd never thought of doing it before, and he got a Coke can out one day and just started punching holes in it. And we were just like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "I'm making a bong." And we were like, "Okay." And he just sat there punching these holes in the can, and then bent it in a few ways, and then just got a whole nug out. He didn't grind it up or anything; just put an entire bud on the can, and then just lit it and smoked the whole thing. And my
What
mind was blown at that
fucking
point.
madman.
Listen, if it works, it's not stupid, right?
How old was
Uh,
everybody when they first had a joint?
That's a good question. I think I
Um,
was about 15, I want to say.
I reckon my first one was about 17, 18. So I was a good boy for most of my life, like a downward spiral. Oh,
You've got a lot of catching up to do, sir. A toad.
oh, you've been doing rapid catch up then.
He just went straight to fucking heroin.
Yeah, never like taking any other shit.
I started smoking weed when I was 14 and pretty much have constantly smoked it since. I'm pretty much an everyday smoker.
What a mad lad.
Yeah.
I smoked only weed and did nothing else at all from the age of 14 until I was 21, I think. And I was adamant I wouldn't do anything else. I wouldn't even get drunk. And I still, to this day, I actually haven't been drunk. I've never been drunk. I'll have a drink. I'll enjoy a drink, and I do enjoy certain drinks, but I've never drunk enough to get drunk. I'd always said to myself that if I was to do anything else apart from smoke weed, it would be mushrooms because they were natural. And that was my sort of reasoning for it. And
That's exactly my reasoning for it.
one day, a friend of mine turned to me and he said, "I've been thinking of trying them." And we had a little conversation about it, and we were sort of thinking about it, and I wasn't too sure, but he was quite set on it. So I started asking some people that I knew whether they could get hold of any. And a couple of weeks later, randomly, somebody that I knew popped up and said that they had liquid extract, and it was in like a little vial bottle, like you'd get of LSD, and each drop would be, I think each drop was 0.5 grams equivalent of cubensis. And we were just like, "Fuck it, you know what? We'll get it, sod it," and we did. and we tried that, and then we said again, we were like, no, we won't do anything else. We'll stick to just doing shrooms occasionally and smoking weed. And then the topic of LSD came up, and we won't go into my LSD consumption. And then from there, I tried DMT, and I've done DMT quite a few times, but I haven't done it in a while, and I don't do shrooms anymore because I'll do them if I need them, but I won't do them just for the sake of it.
Yeah, I get
You
that.
get what I mean?
Hold
because
on, because everyone I've ever talked to says they'll only do shrooms when they need them.
shrooms are very... If you do a high dose of shrooms, the experience feels very much like you're going through something. It's not a case of like, say you go out and you get drunk or you get stoned or whatever. You're just enjoying yourself. You're having a good time. On a high dose of shrooms, there's very much this energy of you're going through something. If that makes any sense.
I would have I've never, like I said, I've only ever smoked weed. I would love to try them one day though.
I just to tail in on the topic of shrooms. I tell you what, can I veer into a story just tangentially?
Go ahead.
Yeah, of course.
When I used to live in the UK, I used to basically twice a year fuck off to Amsterdam to hit the psychedelic reset button. You know, I'd rent out like my little like room in a hostel or whatever, and smoke a ton of weed, do some mushrooms. This girl, and we've been seeing each other, and she had a daughter, and this is the first time I'd been involved with anyone who had a kid. So I had hesitations and reservations about it for my own reasons. And anyway, months into this, and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna commit, you know. And anyway, that was the outcome of this magic mushroom trip that I had had. Friends that take on made peace with it. Anyway, flying back to the UK, and the plane lands, and I get a text message, and it's from this says, "Call me, I'm pregnant." You know, it hit me, but suddenly it was almost like a barrier. A wall was behind me, and I took it in my stride because I had already just made no reason. Maybe it was a coincidence. That trip was somehow intelligently put there, just for that moment where I needed it.
Oh wow.
I find they usually are.
Yeah, it's always like the universe well timed things.
Yeah, and I only really felt like that with mushrooms.
I find it's all in your head, and they force you to sort of, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's always hard to explain when you're talking about psychedelics. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. It changes the way that your mind perceives things and looks at things, and it forces you into that
Confrontation
thing
with
of,
whatever it
yeah,
is that you're breaking through. Yeah, and I think there's quite a sincere sort of severity about some trips, and I think that's why you don't get a lot of people that abuse them on the regular and do sort of use them quite medicinally and purposefully. You know, I always thought that if I take shrooms, it's going to be because I've got a purpose. I've got something mentally.
Yeah, honestly, I've heard a lot about that. Like, they really help you come to terms with things in your head. And yeah, it's one of my reasons that I'm actually quite interested in trying them out now. That I'd really like to try and help reconcile some, dark thoughts and some shit going on in my head that I can't quite figure out on my own.
you
Yeah.
you have to take care with it. I think you have to.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. That's why I
just be
haven't done
me.
them.
It might not be the same for other people, but I find that if you're specifically trying to get a purpose out of it, you need to have in your head before that experience, you need to know exactly what you're planning to get out of this, what you want,
Yeah,
what your mindset is, where you're sort of going with it, sort of thing, to help you. Because
yeah,
otherwise, it's quite easy, especially on a high dose of mushrooms, it's quite easy to forget about what you're actually trying to sort out because there's a lot going on.
oh yeah. As well, I'd just like to have that experience because everyone, like you guys have been describing, I've never had that kind of like just otherworldly experience with it, and I'd like to, even if I only ever did it once, I'd like
Yeah,
to know what that feels like.
It's
yeah.
addictive once you've If
Yeah,
that
that
makes
I
sense.
can
It's
imagine it
not
is.
like I want to do this immediately, but now that I know this experience exists, you feel like it's something you can go back to or desire to go back to at some point in your life.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
It's like
I
finding a
always
vacation spot.
yeah, or like an ability or something. It's like you've never swam in your life, and then suddenly you discover swimming, and fuck it, you don't do it all the time, but then you can go around walking, and after you've done it once, you're like, shit, I really did do that. It wasn't like this, and it's that analogy, but converted into thinking. You think in a completely different way.
Yeah,
It's nuts. I think only the people who have taken psychedelics will understand. But once you have had a psychedelic experience, everything is different. Nothing is the same ever again. Your entire life is just completely changed.
yeah. That's what I mean. I'd love to
You
know what
can't.
that kind of experience is, to have my entire mind, my view of life changed.
The weird thing about it is you can't exactly pinpoint what's different. You can't tell. There's so much more to everything than you thought there was, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Before, I'm going to absolutely murder this explanation because I still don't really know how to. It's like before I ever had a psychedelic experience, my outlook on life was extremely simple. It was just like I'd been to school, I'd learned some stuff, I'd done some things, I got into work, I started working, and my life was just gonna work and skateboard and do stuff, and that's life. It's simple. There's nothing else to it. Just what happens happens. And then I started doing psychedelics, and then suddenly everything is just so in depth, and you think about everything in such a different way, and it just opens your mind to a lot more than you just had before. Again, it's so difficult to explain. Tripping and psychedelics as a whole are just an otherworldly experience. It's undescribable.
Yeah, yeah.
It makes so much sense, but no sense at the same time.
It's just like Jared said, you wake up, it's, Sassy said it best, wake up. It literally is that. It's an awakening. And once you're awake, you don't go back to
Yeah, Sassy always puts it in the right words.
fucking oath.